Farmyard, the People's Channel.
Cross, Robbie, oh, he met it so well. And Whitmore! Theodore Whitmore. Absent without leave, this is Whitmore. Paul and Gale both available, it's still Whitmore. And it's now 2-0.
Greetings, football from Yard Massive. Thanks for joining another match review. The Reggae Boyz continued their poor start to the World Cup qualifying campaign, falling 2-0 to the United States in Austin, Texas, courtesy of a double from 18-year-old Ricardo Pepi. Jamaica had a rather chaotic build-up to the match, resulting in a thin squad being available for the encounter. Daniel Johnson, Ethan Pinnock, Liam Moore, and Michael Antonio all withdrew at the last minute for a variety of reasons, with some reasons sounding more credible than others. The starting lineup included most of the players who started in the previous game against Costa Rica, with a few exceptions. Captain Andre Blake was in goal, with a defensive line of Adrian Mariappa, Damian Lowe, Alvas Powell, and Kemar Lawrence. Anthony Grant was replaced at defensive midfield by 37-year-old Javon Watson. Watson was joined by Devon Speedy Williams and Tyreek McGee. Both flanks saw a change in personnel, with Bobby Reid and Jamal Lowe entering the fray, while Shamar Bosa-Nicholson led the line. American coach Greg Berhalter went with his usual 4-3-3 formation. Although he was missing Christian Pulisic and Giovanni Reina, he did have Juventus midfielder Weston McKennie return to join the team. The first half ended 0-0, with the boys defending deep for the most part. Despite USA's dominant ball possession, Jamaica had the most dangerous chances. Tyreek McGee had a good shot from distance, and USA keeper Matt Turner pulled off an excellent save on Jamal Lowe. While the team maintained defensive discipline during the first half, that discipline went out the window in the second half. The USA was able to open their account in the 49th minute, with Ricardo Pepi scoring a header after the defense got opened up on the right side. Pepi added another to his account in the 62nd minute, finishing another build-up play, but this time from the left flank. Most of the players ranged from substandard to horrendous. There simply wasn't much good. There was a whole heap of bad and a bit of ugly. Andre Blake is one of the few players on the night that had a decent performance. Although he conceded 2 goals, he really wasn't at fault for either, and he intervened to deny the USA on a few occasions. On one such occasion, he was able to stop a potential third goal right before it was about to cross the line. In an ideal world, Blake's distribution probably could have been better and included more short passes. He gets a 6. Damian Lowe had his worst showing for Jamaica in quite some time. While he made a number of key tackles and interceptions, as he usually does, he was frequently out of position, including on the USA's first goal. He also produced a number of sloppy turnovers, including one that led to a breakaway that resulted in him getting called for a foul and receiving a yellow card. It's Lowe's second yellow card of the qualifiers, so he'll be unavailable for the match against Canada. He gets a 5. Adrian Mariappa made a number of timely interceptions, but, like Lowe, also had some sloppy turnovers and was frequently out of position. When the defense started to lose shape in the second half, Mariappa looked vulnerable to the USA's pace, as seen in the second goal. A big performance is required from Mariappa if the team is going to secure points against Canada. He gets a 5. Kemar Taxi Lawrence had his first poor game of the World Cup qualifiers. He was lucky not to get sent off in the first minute of the game, following his attacker on a breakaway. Taxi's passing was inaccurate and he was regularly out of position, giving the wide players acres of room to operate. And unlike the Taxi of old, Taxi was slow to get back on defense after overlapping. He had an excellent pass late in the game to create a goal-scoring opportunity, but will otherwise want to forget the performance. He gets a 4. Alvas Powell had a horrendous game. Powell was slow to react to attackers running onto through balls. The USA would repeatedly push the wing-back up the flank aggressively and have the winger tuck inside, and almost every time Powell found himself in no man's land. He wasn't helped by a midfield and winger that were slow to provide defensive support. Based on his play, Powell will have a hard time maintaining a starting right-back position. He gets a 4. Devon Speedy Williams covered a lot of ground on the night. Some of the coverage was due to his regular style of play, but some was due to having to make up for 2 midfield partners who weren't able to match his intensity on the defensive end. Speedy didn't look particularly comfortable when the USA high pressed, but he also didn't have a lot of turnovers to his name. While there were spurts of good play, he was unable to combine with his teammates on a consistent basis in order to drive the team forward. If the team is to improve, it will need more from Williams in the final third. He gets a 6. 37-year-old Javon Watson, the man known as Hacker, received a lot of criticism prior to the game, but probably played better than most people expected whenever the ball was in his possession, or if the opponent was very close. The issue with Watson is that he didn't provide much running off the ball when the team is in possession or defending. He was oftentimes slow to rotate on the defensive end. The team may be able to get away with playing Watson on the small national stadium surface, but it will likely be an issue in away games. He gets a 5. Fan favorite Tariq McGee showed glimpses of his ability in the first half before fading out of the game. McGee was the only player that looked like he had the technical ability to play his way out of the USA's high press. He was composed when dribbling and looked comfortable when passing the ball. In the first half, he had a dangerous shot on goal from distance. That was enough for US coach Greg Berhalter, who subsequently had his midfielders pay closer attention to McGee. He had no real impact on the game thereafter. On the defensive end, McGee struggled to keep up with the opposition. He gets a 5. Jamal Lowe was inconsistent on the night. He was slow to get back on the defensive end, leading to a structural imbalance on Jamaica's left side. The USA, recognizing this, began to aggressively surge forward with their wingback and central defender to create mismatches. Lowe gave away the ball cheaply on numerous occasions, but also displayed a level of composure in the final third that was missing from most of his teammates. Given his efficiency in the final third, it's probably best if he plays in a more advanced role in the future. He gets a 5. Bobby Reid followed up his poor Panama performance with another match to forget. Reid looked flimsy, slouchy, and uncomfortable in possession. He did not have the pace required to beat his flank defender, the dribbling ability to deceive them, or the touch required to maintain possession. Reid's value to the team seems to diminish significantly when the game isn't a wide-open end-to-end affair. Given his struggles so far, the coaching staff may need to consider moving Reid to a wing-back spot where he's occasionally played for Fulham. This will provide him with more time on the ball to provide his crosses and his world-class shots. He gets a 4. Shamar Nicholson struggled to get much supply in the final third throughout the encounter, but when he did, the USA defenders looked unsettled by his movement and power. In the final minute of the game, he made a good run to get a chance on goal that he fired wide. Coach Whitmore clearly believes strongly in Nicholson, but Nicholson's going to have to improve his conversion ratio to repay the faith that the coach has showed and to help Jamaica win World Cup qualifying matches. He gets a 6. Substitute Kemar Roof wasn't particularly impressive. Roof had spurts of good play, but didn't demonstrate the motor required to cope with the USA team or threaten them when he had the ball. He was a little bit careless with the ball, particularly when the tempo picked up. It was reported that Roof told the coaching staff that he prefers to play in a central creative role behind the striker. However, based on what we've seen so far, it seems best that he play in a more advanced role. He gets a 5. Junior Flemings unfortunately did the difficult parts of the game well, to only be let down by the basic fundamentals of the game. Flemings normally has a distinct pace advantage against his opposition, particularly when he enters the field as a substitute. But this was not the case on this occasion, and he struggled to adjust accordingly, giving the ball away cheaply on numerous occasions. He gets a 4. Javon East was able to create a few moments of danger during his appearance. Despite a couple sloppy plays, he was an upgrade over Bobby Reid on the night. East looked comfortable under pressure and had the strength required to hold off his opponent. East thinks he should have earned a penalty late in the game, but the referee did not see it that way. He gets a 5. Javain Brown had a brief appearance, entering the fray for an injured Alvis Powell. Brown added some structural integrity to the right-back position, as he seemed to have a better grasp of the more cerebral elements of the position, while having the pace required to keep up with the American players. He gets a 6. Overall, it was a very disappointing performance, particularly the inability of the team to make the appropriate in-game adjustments. The USA repeatedly used the same play with minor variations to create relentless pressure on the two flanks, with Coach Whitmore and the players failing to adjust. Next up, the boys will play against Canada in the National Stadium. Prior to the USA game, it was reported that Coach Whitmore would have to secure at least 5 points from 3 games in this round in order to retain his job. Given the result in the USA game, that means he would have to win the next 2 games or he'll be shown the door. Given his personal decisions to date, the mismanagement of some of the players, and his in-game mistakes, it should be no surprise that we're on the brink of a coaching change. However, even more important than the coaching change is a change at the administrative level. There are too many mistakes being made with regards to logistics and basic administrative matters. The JFF had reportedly told Whitmore and the coaching staff that they are unable to add players to a depleted squad due to financial constraints. World Cup qualifying is difficult enough as is, and these factors make it almost impossible to achieve success. One can only hope for improvements going forward. Respect once again for joining, and we can only pray that the next time we talk, the Reggae Boys will find a way to unify and get a positive result for the people of Jamaica.
Cross, Robbie! Oh, he met it so well. And Whitmore! Theodore Whitmore. On absent without leave, this is Whitmore. Hall and Gale both available. It's still Whitmore. And it's now 2-0.